Good morning. Oh, you guys are awake. This is great. Yeah. I had to coerce the first hour. This one seems alive. That's great. Well, this week we are continuing. We are actually at week 4. So from here on, it's downhill. We're halfway through after the end of today. Today we are dealing with the second of 6 elements of what it means to be governed by the principle of context. Last week we dealt with the first element, which was what? Genre. Right. Genre. The French word genre. Not genre, genre. And what were the genres of Revelation that we established? The first one was what? A what? You can cheat. Look at any of the sheets that you have. An epistle. Exactly. That's a hard word to say. Epistolary. And an epistle is what? It's a letter. That's exactly right. The second genre was what? Prophetic genre, which we talked about that 2 weeks ago and the week before about what that means. The third one was what? Apocalyptic, the $25 word. And that apocalyptic literature is heavily laden with what type of language? Symbols. Symbolic language. So what we have is this is how the book of Revelation was written. And today, I want to be dealing with the question, why was Revelation written? To whom was it written? By whom was it written? And for what reason? And we're going to be bracketing that off and describing that as historical setting. Yeah, we'll get into this. Is my favorite section, by the way. I love this stuff. So I'll make sure I have somebody keeping me on time because I could just go all day. But anyway, my favorite segment of the show, Whose Line Is It Anyway, is the green screen segment. Has anybody seen the Whose Line Is It Anyway? Any hands? For those of you that haven't, Whose Line Is It Anyway is basically a show of improvisation. It's these group of people, they get situations and scenarios from the audience, and they have to act it out on the spot. They don't have a script, they just have to act it out. And one of the things they do is called the green screen. And what it is you have 2 guys that are sitting over here, and they're the news anchors, and they're trying to give clues to this guy over here that's standing in front of a green screen. And he's supposed to be reporting on something on a green screen that he doesn't even know what it is. Let me explain to you how a green screen works. It's what it sounds like. It's a green screen. It's a big green screen. And what it is whenever you're looking at it, it looks green. But later, the people can put digitally whatever backdrop they want on it. They can put anything they want on it. It's like at the evening news. You know the weatherman? If you watch his eyes, he's never looking at the board that he's pointing to. He's always looking straight across. Why? Because he's standing in front of a green screen, and he's looking at a monitor where they're digitally putting the maps on the screen. So when he's pointing at stuff, he's never looking at his hand. He's looking this way. Why? Because he has a green screen. In the Whose Line Is It Anyway, this guy's standing in front of the green screen, and he cannot see anything that's on the screen, but he has to report on it. And so he's up there, and he's making up all these different things, and these guys are trying to give him, all these clues. Like, he's up there, and he's standing around, there's a bunch of sharks swimming around him, and they're like, are you in trouble? Maybe you should call the carps. Just stuff to try to give him an idea of what's happening. And the reason why I love it is because he looks so foolish. He has no idea what he's talking about because he can't see what's on the green screen. When we come to a biblical text, it's like we're looking at a green screen. And what the historical setting does is it starts filling in the image of the green screen so that we can see what we are talking about. But when you don't have that image filled in, your interpretations can look kind of silly. And today what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the green screen for the book of Revelation. We're going to be talking about what was happening to the people that the book of Revelation was written to. Why was it written to them? What was it saying to them? How would they have responded considering what was going on in their lives? And if I had to summarize the whole book of Revelation's historical setting in one word, it would be conflict. The book of Revelation was written at a time surrounded by conflict. On your notes, I actually have listed out 95 different passages that I have found. And I say the word passages and not verses because some of these passages contain more than one verse. 95 different verses that I have found that describe in some sense some sort of conflict. And the reason why that's significant is because that there's only 404 verses in the book of Revelation. If you have at least 1/4 of them talking about some sort of conflict, you know that the book of Revelation is heavily laden in a time in which conflict was surrounding the people receiving the letter. Look with me, if you will, at the 2 maps at the very end of your notes. If you want, you can tear off the back one because I want you to set these next to each other and I want you to do some comparing. The first map that you will find is of the Roman Empire. And what it is, it's the map, there's a dark line, a thick line, I should say thick, a thick line that's surrounding a certain region. And what that's marking off, what that's demarcating, is the Roman Empire, where it stretched to in the first century. So that thick line is the boundary line that the Roman Empire had stretched to. If you look at the next map, it is the spread of Christianity in the Roman Empire. And if you will notice, faintly on the map, there are diagonal lines that are white, a lot lighter. Look on the far right of the map. That whole region there is covered with these diagonal white lines, light lines. Here's what I want you to look at. Well, first of all, let me explain. Those white lines are where we have documented evidence of Christians existing in the first century. Now take both maps, set them next to each other, and do you notice something? The most obvious thing that you can notice, what is it? The maps are of the same place. You have one map that's describing where the Roman Empire is stretching, one map that's describing where the Christian Empire, if you will, is existing, and the thing is that it's the same place. Let me give you our definition of the word conflict for today. Conflict is when two people or two kingdoms try to occupy the exact same place at the exact same time. Let me say that again. Conflict is where two people or kingdoms try to occupy the exact same place at the exact same time. This definition can be tested very easily. Just go shopping the day after Thanksgiving. There's a lot of people trying to occupy the exact same space at the exact same time, and inevitably there's some sort of level of conflict. I mean, it may not escalate to the point where people are hitting each other, but they're still bumping and they're still, getting frustrated and maybe speaking rudely because there's just too many people trying to occupy the same space at the same time. Or if you're standing in line at the movie theater or even the post office, I mean, some people get pretty upset. I mean, Steve can testify to us if they have to wait too long in the post office because they're trying to occupy the